15 photos of Donald Trump caught in compromising situations. If you are brand new to our channel, we invite you to take a moment to subscribe. Just click on the lit red button as well as the gray bell. Why the bell? Well, it will let you know every time we post a new video. 1. Charlie Nash, chimpanzee attack. Travis the chimpanzee was born in 1995 and was raised by Sandy Harold. Travis was a brilliant chimp and could open doors using keys, drive a car, paint, and he even took baths with his owner. However, one day Travis broke. The beloved chimp had left his home when Charlie Nash, a family friend of Sandy, tried to enclose the animal. At that very moment Travis attacked, tearing her to pieces. He ripped of her nose, hands, lips, and her eyelids. In order to save her family friend, Harold jabbed a knife into her chimp's back 3 times, but the powerful primate continued its attack. Harold said, "It was like stabbing my own son." As the police arrived, the cop finally shot Travis as he ripped off the door of the cruiser. Nash experienced a tremendous amount of surgeries and had a face transplant. To this day, Nash is blind and is still recovering from the accident. Of themselves with the prolific murderer to use his corpse as a tourist attraction once he died. Starr denied the claims and hopes that Manson will one day marry her. "I love him," she told AP. 2. Trump loves his Hooters girls. There are several photos floating around of Trump with his arm around a Hooters girl or two, which shouldn't surprise those who already feel that he's a sexist pig. Many find his need to be surrounded by beautiful women and his absolute disgust for those he doesn't find attractive to be a prediction of what he will focus on if he makes it to the White House. Some speculate that when he says he wants to make America great again, that he actually means bringing America back to an earlier time when there were far less immigrants and women were purely decorative and stuck at home in the kitchen. Trump has made his opinion of women pretty clear, and they tend to only fall into 2 categories, bimbo and pig. He has gone on record to say that he feels the only reason Hillary Clinton is even in the running is because she's a woman and the people want to see a female president. Trump was quoted as saying, "If Hillary Clinton were a man, I don't think she'd get 5% of the vote. The only thing she's got going for her is the woman's card, and the beautiful thing is, women don't like her." 3. Another photo of Trump with his daughter. Another inappropriate photo of Trump and his daughter was leaked, this one depicting Ivanka at a much younger age. Seemingly staged for a photo shoot, Ivanka's lying in bed in a black cocktail dress with her arms around her father, who is sitting on the bed next to her. The photo is grainy, because it's a picture of a picture, but there's no doubting the creepiness it depicts. While it's unknown what the photo shoot was for, Ivanka seems to be only 12 or 13 in the photo, but is dressed to look much older. Trump seems to have some sort of sick fantasy about his daughter, and regardless of whether or not he has ever acted on it, the comments he has made about her alone are puke-worthy. Many people who have worked with Trump in the past have made statements claiming he would often bring up his daughter's looks, even comparing the rear of a contestant on The Apprentice to his daughter's. Their relationship is clearly far from normal and borderline inappropriate. 4. Trump fat shames Chris Christie. Chris Christie, New Jersey governor and Trump's supporter, seems to be the butt of so many of Trump's jokes. Clearly, the guy will do anything for a laugh. Aside from calling him out for being an absentee governor who spends more time in New Hampshire than in New Jersey, he also poked fun at his weight by telling him not to eat any more Oreos. "I'm not eating Oreos anymore, neither is Chris." Trump then pointed at Christie before saying, "You're not eating Oreos anymore. No more Oreos. For either of us, Chris." Trump has been known for fat-shaming people and emphasizing how important one's appearance is. Clearly, he hasn't looked in a mirror lately. There have been many allegations against the candidate for being sexist and degrading on the set of his reality show, The Apprentice. Several crew members have come forward revealing remarks that they've heard him say disparaging remarks about women's figures, both regarding other crew members and female contestants on the show. An anonymous crew member recalled in an interview one time that he overheard Trump talking about the breasts of one particular contestant, claiming he said her breasts were so much bigger at the casting. Maybe she had a period then. The source went on to say that Trump would say such things while being naked, knowing 30 or so people would hear what he was saying. On one particular season of the show, the source spoke about an overweight male contestant that kept screwing up. However, Trump still wouldn't fire him. The source said the producers had to scramble because of course Trump can never be seen to make a bad call on the show. So we had to re-engineer the footage to make a different contestant look bad. Later, I heard a producer talk to him, and Trump said, "Everybody loves a fat guy. People will watch if you have a funny fat guy around. Trust me, it's good for ratings." Some claim that Governor Chris Christie has filled this role for Trump's campaign, keeping around a fat guy to be the butt of his jokes and entertain the public. Out of his 5, Trump makes fun of disabled reporter. Nearly a year ago, Trump was accused of making fun of the New York Times reporter, Serge Kovaleski, at a South Carolina rally. Kovaleski suffers from a chronic condition called arthrogryposis, which limits the movement of arms. His actions were similar to a popular gesture used by middle schoolers to insensitively and naively make fun of someone, meaning retarded or stupid. Understandably, the New York Times was incredibly offended, saying, "We find it outrageous that he would ridicule the appearance of one of our reporters." Trump's response was to deny having ever met Kovaleski, even though it was on record that the reporter had previously worked for the Washington Post and the New York Daily News, where he had met and covered stories about Trump several times. Trump released a statement claiming that he didn't remember ever meeting the reporter and had no idea what he looks like or his level of intelligence. He went on to accuse the reporter of thinking a lot of himself if he thinks Trump remembers him from decades ago. Kind of hilarious coming from someone who in the same statement claimed he has one of the all-time great memories. As 6. Trump is being compared to Hitler. Trump protesters have certainly been ruthless, especially those who have come into the country illegally and have rightfully compared the presidential candidate to Adolf Hitler. It's no secret that Trump carries a low opinion of immigrants, and while he has never come out and said it, it's obvious that his disgust lies mostly with illegal Mexican immigrants. Aside from his over-the-top plans to build a wall separating the United States from Mexico at the border, he has gone on record to say that America has become a dumping ground for other countries, sending criminals and rapists our way. The similarities between the speeches of both Trump and Hitler are incredibly unnerving. Trump is one of few candidates in American history to personalize their candidacy, as he often talks about how he can single-handedly save our country. Phrases that show cause for concern are "I alone, trust me," and his regular reference to his unbelievable ability to get things done. Another similarity between the two is that both spoke their minds and said things maybe others were thinking but would never speak out loud. Both Trump and Hitler have given over-the-top speeches, seemingly putting on a show for their fans. 7. Trump says to grab them by the poo-why with Billy Bush and Ariane Zucker. If you've seen the recently leaked video clip of Trump on his way to appear on Days of Our Lives in 2005, then you're certainly familiar with this screenshot depicting him with radio and television personality Billy Bush and actress Ariane Zucker. Bush was wrapping up an interview with Trump for Access Hollywood when the conversation turned personal. Trump discussed a failed attempt to seduce an unnamed woman using lewd and piggish language. He and Bush then noticed Zucker from their bus window, recognizing her as Trump's coster for the day. The conversation then got disturbing, with Bush saying, "Your girl's hot as S in the purple." Trump is then heard saying, "I've gotta use some Tic Tacs, just in case I start kissing her, and when you're a star they let you do it. Grab them by the poo-eye. You can do anything." So, the lesson here is that when you're famous, you can get away with sexually assaulting women. Trump apologized for his words, blaming his repulsive behavior on locker room talk, before accusing Bill Clinton of referring to women similarly with him on the golf course. 8. Trump getting pervy with Miss Universe contestants, Stefania Fernandez. Photographed here with Stefania Fernandez from Venezuela, who was crowned Miss Universe 2009, Trump is seen taking advantage of his position by planting one on her cheek. Clearly uncomfortable with the situation, Fernandez is just one of many contestants who have been victims of similar occurrences. Also reported were instances when Trump would walk into dressing rooms during pageants, where girls as young as 15 were dressing. Tasha Dixon, Miss Texas, told Los Angeles' CBS affiliate, "He just came strolling right in. There was no second to put a rope on or any sort of clothing or anything. Some girls were topless. Other girls were naked. Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half-naked changing into our bikinis. Even more sickening, she talked about how the contestants were encouraged to lavish Trump with attention if they wanted to win, adding pressure to an already nerve-wracking situation. While Trump and his campaign team never responded to these accusations, he bragged about his ability to walk in on women while they were changing in an interview on The Howard Stern Show back in 2005.